Hey guys, I hope you're well. I'm back with a new video. Beginner's Guide to Armour. So every armour, or every faction in squad has its main battle tank. The allied side, and then you can say Axis or Red Force side, have different sort of tanks. The sides, like the Russians, Middle Eastern Alliance, Militia, and Insurgents, they have Russian-built tanks. For sides like the US, Canada, and Britain, they have their own built tank, their own coalition-based tanks. Russian tanks, like the T-72B3, the Russian main battle tank, the T-72S, the MEA main battle tank, and the T-62 for the Militia, Insurgents, and MEA factions. They have a maximum of 3 seats: a driver, a gunner, and a commander/external gunner. For the Americans, they have a maximum of 4 seats. They have a driver, gunner, commander, and an external gunner, or another Coax, depending on the tank. The Abrams, for instance, the Coax is for the commander, and the external gunner is for the 4th crewman. So let's get into a tank. To change seats is simple. It requires 4 F keys, or 3, depending on which tank you are. F1, as soon as you hop into the tank, you will immediately be dropped in your driver's seat. That is your F1 key. To change to your gunner seat, hold F2 or tap it, your choice, and you get into the gunner seat. To get into F3, which is usually your commander seat, hold it down or tap it, your choice, and get into your commander seat. F4, depending on the tank, you get into your Coax seat or your hull mounted gunner seat. So what I've found when I play squad and when I meet new players is that they don't understand how to actually operate a tank. Driving is, on the basis of it, simple, but as later on I'll delve deeper into the little things that matter when you are a driver. So let's just do the basics first. You have a small visibility to your left, to your right, and to your center. You mainly watch to your center. You watch left and right if you're stationary to try and watch for any infantry trying to attack you from your left hand side, left front, and right front. To start your tank, you press E. You mainly hold it. Once you hear that big engine roar up, it's as simple as your W, A, S, D keys. A to go left, D to go right, S to go backwards and brake, and W to go forward. Most tanks, almost all of them, have a rough top speed of about 60 kilometers an hour. When you're driving, you can notice a small health bar just below the accelerometer. When that goes into the yellow and you know your tank is quite badly damaged, that is the moment that you have to drive back to main. But other than that, if it's full health, if it's full in the white, listen to your squad leader and drive to where he wants you to go. I've also, little naggle, is that when you drive, you come across a very steep bank. By holding shift key, you will lock your vehicle, your tank specifically, into 1 gear. It won't change up, it won't change down, it will stick to that gear. If you're on a steep climb, it's best to keep your gears stuck in gear 1. If you're stuck in gear 3, you're not going to get up the small little climb. So hold shift when you're almost on the verge of being stuck on a steep slope. There's also a handbrake. If you're driving along and you need to stop quickly, by pressing spacebar, you can basically drift your tank and stop within seconds. Or you can hold your S key, but stopping time is a little bit more than your brake. If you want to turn your engine off, you hold E. If you look on the top right, it says deploy smoke with your left button. Your engine must be on when you do this. Can't be off. You only deploy smoke if you are in dire trouble. If your health bar is below that 50%, if it's in dark orange and your vehicle is just damaged beyond belief, then you hold it down and deploy smoke. Behind your tank, a smoke trail will emerge and will make it harder for any anti-tank infantry or tanks to try and shoot you from behind, because you can't shoot into smoke when you can't see your target. There are a number of symbols just next to the dials that you see and the health bar. The first symbol on the left, the flame and the ammunition, is your ammo rack. If that is half health, that means your ammo rack has been hit, and there's a higher chance for your tank to be one-hitted by RPG or an enemy tank, meaning that the chances of you blowing up and dying and losing your tank is very high. Next to it is the turret mount. If that at any point is not in the white and is in the yellow or the red, that means your gunner cannot move his turret and is going to have to rely on you, the driver, to rotate the tank towards the direction of fire. You're going to basically turn into a World War II tank destroyer at that point. Next to that is the angle at which your tank is at. If you're on the flat ground, the angle is going to stay straight. But if you climb to a certain, let's say if you go up a hill, it's going to angle up. This just shows the angle of the tank on the landscape it is at. Next to that is your front-on view. So it shows which way your tank is leaning, if it's leaning on the left or on the right. So it shows to tell the driver to correct his driving. If he's a bit too much to the right and he's about to tip over, you go left. You don't hold it like that, for instance, as you can see. Next to that is the engine. It can be damaged quite severely and you can actually lose all power. That is when you'll have to come out and use your repair kit, as you can see. But you cannot use your repair kit when your tank is full health. I have seen new players try that. And then next to that, you have your tank mark. When it is half health, when half of it is in yellow and half of it is empty, that means one of your tracks is damaged. You can figure this out either by basically going in constant circles and not being able to move forward or move at all, or if you can just see it on the mark. Depending on where the circle says, if it says yellow on the left and it's blank on the right, that means that you're tracked on the right hand side. If it's the opposite way, if it's yellow on the right hand side of the circle and white and blank on the left, that means you're tracked on the left. That is when you have to deploy your smoke and rely on your gunner to use smoke. I will show you that in a second. Now let's get a little bit advanced for drivers. I don't recommend that you do this as soon as the first time you get into a tank. A T-62, a Leopard, a Challenger, an Abrams, any tank. I do not recommend you do this when you do it the first time you've ever driven a tank. But if you've done it let's say 10, 20 times, then you can start to experiment. So let's lay an example down. Your squad leader wants you to go to a position somewhere on the map. He says that it's a good view spot and there's plenty of places that he can see, because usually the squad leader will either be in the commander seat or the gunner seat, depending on how many crew are in your squad. Let's say he puts a move marker down. You can see the move marker by moving your head on your compass on the bottom side of the screen. Then drive to that, wouldn't you? As your squad leader, and the whole point is to communicate and listen, because usually, most of the time, your squad leaders will know what they are doing. Only squad leader if they've had experience playing this game. You listen to him because you have to trust him on his judgment. Obviously, his judgment may not be correct sometimes, and he will have to be held accountable for that. So you drive to that mark, roughly, as quickly as you can. It won't be in a desert environment like this is today. It may be in Fallujah, it may be in Al-Basra, it may be in Talil outskirts. It It won't be as easy as driving just along open ground with no buildings. You're gonna have to zigzag if you come across obstacles. Okay, let's say you are... Okay, you're here. You're at the mark. Your squad leader, a lot of the time, will say, okay, go to this mark, go a little bit forward, go a little bit to the left, go wherever. But other squad leaders that I have met that may have had a few games in tank may not know where to go. May say, go here, but when you go there, it's going to be a totally different spot. And it's going to be a spot where you won't be able to shoot effectively, you won't be able to get good distance. This will be up to you, the driver. By looking at your map by pressing M or Enter, look at the terrain, look at the textures that the map loads in, the little shadows signal valleys, the little dark spots above them or below them signals high points. Look at the map, analyze it, play it many times, and pick out a spot. You can even see it with your eyes from the driver's seat. If you see a high point, drive to it. Almost certainly that high point will give you a great peripheral vision of your surrounding and give your commander or gunner a good spot for shooting. This, I do not highly recommend you do this the first time you play the game, first time you let alone get in a tank. I recommend you do this when you've maybe had 100, maybe 500 hours in the game, in that range, and you're comfortable with the maps that you play on, you know them quite well, you know the terrain. If your squad leader points to that mark, it may be up to you, the driver, to pick out a spot where the gunner and the commander can work together to point out targets and shoot with a clear line of sight. Now let's get into a little bit of gunning, the fun part of tanking. When you're a gunner, specifically for the British, Canadians and Americans, you're given usually three types of rounds, or two, depending on your tank. For the Abrams specifically, you get a saber round, armoured piercing saber. This is only good for tanks. You can use this for APCs, BTRs, and logi trucks or logistics or any sort of those vehicles, even aircraft like helicopters. You can use them, but you won't get the best out of it. Armour piercing is best for enemy tanks. Below that, it's high explosive. The Abrams, Challenger, and Leopard, you can use this mainly for APCs, BTRs, helicopters, and infantry. Then below that you have a machine gun. You can use this to save HE rounds, if you are good with a machine gun. For an Abrams, the machine gun shoots from the left. It doesn't shoot directly onto the target, as you can see. If you watch the red dot and where I'm shooting, the traces signify where they are dropping. You're going to have to use your eyes and watch where your traces land and then adjust accordingly. You also have smoke launchers. These are best for when your tank is very low on health and you need to get out of a tight situation. These are also good for providing cover for crewmen who may need to repair tracks, left or right side. They can also be used behind, depending on where you aim your gun. One key thing when you are a gunner is stabilization. Almost every tank, apart from the T-62, has stabilization. By pressing Z, you have enabled yourself and the gun to shoot on the move. No matter what bump you go over, no matter what hill you climb, you can shoot stably, in a very stable state. You can hit a target point blank range, let alone 1,000 kilometers with ease. But then there's a little bit of ranging. Let's say a T-72 is 1,000 meters away. You can't exactly hit that. You're going to have to adjust your gun accordingly. The numbers on the right hand side indicate how far you may need to shoot. The 5 indicates 500, 7 indicates 700, 9 equals 900, and then 1,200 meters, 1,500 meters, 1,800 meters, and then 2,100 meters. You can adjust according. Let's say he's 1,000 meters away, so just at that berm, just in between 9 and 12. Shooting there, you have a chance of hitting the end target. But remember, one key thing: keep one of your fingers on R. This tanks are not auto-reloading. They are not like tanks in Postscriptum. Press it once. The crewman in the back, can't be played by a player, loads a saber round in. But if you need to change the HE, use your scroll wheel, scroll it down, left click. He will take the armor piercing shell out, chuck HE in. Once you hear that yell, you're ready to shoot. A gunner doesn't necessarily have to shoot on the squad leader's orders. If you see a bunch of infantry dead front and your squad leader doesn't, open fire. Kill them. If they have RPGs in their hands and you decide to listen to your squad leader to say whether you can shoot or not, your tank's going to get hit, it's going to be low on health, you may even get tracked, and your tank's going to be virtually useless. Shoot when you think it is necessary. Also watch out for team kills. I've seen a lot of beginners just decide to shoot their teammates because they think they're the enemy. Be aware of who is who. Watch for markers. You can see markers on top of players' heads. If they're blue, if they're green, then you know it's friendly. If they don't have any markers at all, then be wary. Maybe get your squad leader to have a look. If they're in the distance, if they're close and holding an RPG, you can shoot them dead straight. Usually you will know if they're the enemy. There's a big difference between an American soldier and a Russian, but it's up to you to decide whether you want to sort of analyze what a Russian soldier looks like compared to an American. There will be times where you will be in a tank and it will only just be you and a driver. It will be up to the gunner to be vigilant and aware of the surroundings. You do not have a second set of eyes to watch your left or your right. You're going to have to constantly move your mouse left and right, or your A and D keys, to watch your surroundings. Usually the person who will be in the gun at that time will be your squad leader and you will be driving. But sometimes the squad leader may drive to certain positions where he knows or he thinks is good vantage points to shoot. So remember, if you're in a two-man crew with Abrams, be aware, look left and right, listen for footsteps. Engineers can put IEDs and C4 and explosives on your tank. So if you hear the little click or a little sort of drop of a bag on top of your tank, tell your driver immediately by pressing B or V to get out of there as quickly as possible. Remember, coordination is key. Coordination and communication is what I meant. Now it's the commander. Usually, when you are in the seat, you will be the squad leader. Sometimes you may be thrown into the seat and your squad leader's on the main gun. When this happens, he will usually give you a fire team, Charlie or Bravo. When you're given that, make sure your finger is hovering on T. By pressing T, you're given an array of markers. Obviously, I am a squad leader crewman at the moment, and I'm given a little bit more than just what a Charlie or Bravo's team leader may get. But what you'll get are these four symbols: attack, defend, move, construct, and observe. These are the 5 markers you'll get. Attack marker is probably the one thing you will use as a Charlie lead or a squad lead if you are a new squad leader and you have to get into the tank. Most tanks, you'll get a machine gun. as your basically as a point of reference. For specifically the Abrams, you get the Crows. You only get one magazine. As it says, you get 2,000 rounds. No, not even that actually. You get 386 rounds. I was getting confused because that's the machine gun on the main gun. So you get 400 rounds on the Crows. You can use this mainly for anti-infantry, but you can also use this as a pointer. Let's say your gunner is looking at 12 o'clock, and he can't see the little turret poking out of the corner, shooting at us, but yet not penetrating the armor. You can shoot your gun and shoot tracers. Tracers on this 50 cal are huge, and your gunner won't miss them 100%. You can also, by pressing T, attack mark. That immediately points on the compass, but also on the map, as well as visually and physically in the game where the target will be, and the gunner should pick it up. As well as that, by pressing spacebar, you can designate the target by holding it down, and the gun will immediately swivel towards it. At the moment, I think it may be broken because I have not seen it physically work in the game recently, as of the Militia update, but it should be fixed soon. As well as that, you also get the stabilization feature, as similar in the main gun. By pressing Z, you can shoot on the move with your 50 cal, but this 50 cal, it shakes violently, getting a little bit blurry when you shoot. To zoom in, just hold Q, or tap it. You can tap it twice to zoom in 2 times, or 12 times. By 2 times I meant 5 times. This is the same for the main gun. You can zoom in 5 times and 12 times also. I've seen new players use a component which is similar to, or is added to the BMP and the Bradley, as well as cornets and tow missiles. And that is the T-72's unique guided missile system. Laser guided, relies on where your arrow and where your pointer is aimed at. Do not use this for infantry. This is a perfect tool for destroying Abrams, Challengers and Leopards. The T-72 variants of the Russian, the Middle Eastern Alliance, as well as the T-62 have frag rounds. All you need to do is swap to that by pressing 3. And use this round only, or your high explosive if you are out of frag rounds, to rain hell on infantry specifically. This shell is useless against armoured vehicles of any sort. Another small little thing is if you don't want to use your mouse button, or even if you don't have a mouse button, using your keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on the vehicle, you can change your weapons quite quickly. I prefer to use my mouse button. It's up to you, but it's preference in my opinion. Do bear in mind that each tank is unique in its own way. The Abrams and the T-72 have totally different feelings, movement, specifically gun action, shooting mechanisms, aiming, precision, sights, gunnery, that sort of thing. But it's up to you to adapt and learn. You won't be able to figure out a tank like the Abrams or the T-72 within a day. It'll take you a little bit of time to figure it out. It's like adopting a stray dog. You won't be able to fully understand its capabilities of being your best friend until you unlock its little secrets. Each tank is like that, it has its little secrets, has its little niggles that you'll figure out eventually, but which I'm not going to tell you because I want you to go out there and practice and learn how to use these tanks and be the kings of the battlefield. A very well experienced veteran of armoured warfare. Obviously I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you liked it or what I may need to change or add, that sort of thing. I think I've covered mainly the main parts. There is obviously the crewman side. To choose a crewman, go to an ammo crate or your tank by pressing F. You see this little crewman kit, which is the circle. Press that, and you go to crewman. Unless you're the squad leader, you go to lead crewman. But usually, for beginners, they usually set around crewman. Press that, and you become a crewman, and you are allowed to enter the beast. You obviously have your repair kit, which can be used to fix your engine, your turret, and your tracks. You can fix your engine only to 50% health, as well as your turret. If your turret is damaged below 50% and it's 25% health, you can fix it back up to 50. You can also fix your tracks left and right up to 100%, making your tank fully mobile. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and yeah, I will see you in the next one.